directors, the Deputy President of the Republic, Honorable Cyril Ramaphosa, the bereaved families present, ministers and deputy ministers present, the leadership of the African National Congress in all its manifestations, premiers, excellencies, ambassadors and high commissioners, dignitaries present, comrades and compatriots, ladies and gentlemen, fellow South Africans. On the morning of Sunday, the 15th of March, our country and the world woke up to the sad news of the tragic and untimely passing of the late Minister of Public Service and Administration, Comrade Collins Chabane, and his two protectors, Sergeant Sikele and Tshwane. On that fateful morning, that dependable servant of the people of South Africa and the African continent drew his last breath. That loyal servant of our people and one of the greatest humanists of our time rendered his very last service to humanity. The immutable dynamics of the inner laws of nature have thus predestined that we assemble here today to pay homage to this emblematic human being whose entire adult life was unreservedly and selflessly devoted to the service of humankind. It is with reference to this that newspaper editorials and various tributes described Comrade Collins Chabane as a tireless civil servant, a hands-on person in his work, a hard worker, a person of great character, fortitude, and morality, and an activist who served our people with dignity and integrity. All the freedom-loving people of our nation and the rest of the African continent have suffered an immeasurable loss with the passing of this exemplary personage of our struggle for total human emancipation. The gap that has been left by the departure of this mighty spirit will soon enough make itself felt. Program Director, on behalf of the citizens of Tshwane, in whose name we speak, we convey our heartfelt condolences and deepest sympathy to the family, friends, and close relatives. The endless outpouring of love and emotion from across a wide spectrum is a living testament of the extent to which your beloved one touched many of us through his devotion and the service to humankind. We share your immense grief and assure you that yours is not a personal loss, but a substantial deficit to all of us who encountered the fruits of his efforts in his personal and private capacities. As the scientific luminary and one of the towering figures of the 20th century observed, I quote, "A human being's value to the community depends primarily on how far his or her feelings, thoughts, and actions are directed towards promoting the good of his fellows," close quotes. Though a severe blow it remains, we know the deceased do not die. They continue to live in our hearts and heads. Their memory does not perish, and their doctrines will be effective even in greater circles. The list of attributes that populated the acclamations and eulogies in the wake of his passing left no doubt about his place in the modern history of social and political change in Africa. Program Director, there should be no doubt about the veracity and validity of those representations and depictions of Comrade Collins' life. This is a comrade who, as a teenager, already perfectly understood both the theoretical and practical implications of Frantz Fanon's call to duty. That, I quote, "Every generation must, out of relative obscurity, discover its mission in life, fulfill it, or betray it," close quote. He developed political consciousness very early in the life that drove him to radiate explosive indignations at any form of injustice and human suffering. It is this awareness that saw him enter active political life at an uncharacteristically young age and go on to serve the movement and the freedom-loving people of South Africa so dependably in various pillars of our struggle for liberation. Henceforth, Comrade Collins' life became inextricably tied up to the ebbs and flows of the liberation struggle, spanning various phases until that glorious moment in April 1994. At the time of his passing, the comrade was at the helm of the Public Service and Administration, a department that constitutes the fulcrum of the conception and execution of government policies and programs. Under his leadership and that of his predecessor, the department was single-minded in its commitment to create a developmental civil service. This is a civil service whose work ethos, quality of skills, and moral rectitude are organic to the protection of developmentalism. Dear Master of Ceremonies, Comrade Chabane, in him we learned about the virtues of hard work and dedication, decisiveness and courage, critical and independent thought with collective discipline, unquenchable thirst for knowledge, and the awakening of critical consciousness and devotion to human rights. In him, we had a radiating and an excellent example, and indeed a living embodiment of individual initiative within collective discipline. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for bequeathing us an exemplary conduct of discipline, selflessness, and moral rectitude. We sincerely thank you for teaching us through practice that humility is the chief ingredient in the formation of personality traits which make up a great leader. In spite of your hard work and dedication to servicing the people of South Africa, you never once went on a crusade seeking personal glory or engaged in advocacy for self-promotion. It is therefore appropriate that we gather here today to pay homage to this illustrious servant of the people of South Africa, a great humanist, and above all, an intransigent combatant for human rights. I implore all of you assembled here today to please accompany us in mourning the passing of this emblematic personage in our struggle for a better life for all of humanity. I invite you to join us in celebrating a life worth every second of its existence, a life unreservedly devoted to the service of humanity. Let us all jointly and severally ruminate on the lessons bequeathed by this loyal servant of our people and the greatest humanist of our time. May his name, work, and efforts endure through the ages and become a trans-historical monument of humanism, social justice, egalitarian values to inspire and guide future generations. You are all welcome to the capital city of the democratic South Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you to our executive mayor of the Tshwane city. Deputy President, the Speaker of Parliament, the Deputy Chief Justice, the Chair of the AU Commission, Ministers and Deputy Ministers, the First Ladies, the Premiers and MECs, the Members of Parliament,